Almost all American journalism is controlled by a few massive corporations. News Voice is a one-of-a-kind mobile app that tracks the bias and corporate interests that infuse the news stories we consume every day, and it's completely free to use. Go to newsvoice.com/Pakman to download it. We sadly have to now have another sad conversation. Today's show at the start is kind of a bummer, but we're going to get to some interesting things if you bear with me. We have to have a really serious conversation about the growing reality that the conspiracy theorists are to a great degree winning right now surrounding coronavirus. Now, I want to be really careful here. This includes coronavirus related conspiracy theories, but I'm also talking about conspiracy theories that are being floated now to distract from the administration's failed handling of the virus. So I'm going to talk about both things. And I should be clear that when I say the conspiracy theorists are winning, I don't mean most people believe the conspiracies. That's not what I mean. But there's an asymmetric priority here. When I say the conspiracy theorists are winning, what I mean is enough people are either falling for the conspiracy theories or reporting endlessly on the conspiracy theories, such that it is wreaking havoc on the overall dissemination of real information and distracting from a focus on what matters. And that's why when this pond scum nonsense starts to spread, they don't need to get 51% of the population to believe it. They don't even need to get 20% of the population to believe it. They only need to do enough to wreak havoc in the media and distract from the real scandals. Really good piece in The Atlantic by Jeffrey Goldberg, which actually goes into this and it goes further. And it says the impact of these conspiracy theories winning is not just on coronavirus, but it's actually a bigger challenge to Enlightenment values and to reality itself, which we're going to dig into. There's also a piece in Vox by Sean Illing, which talks about sort of the media's handling component and how Trump uses the media to spread his conspiratorial disinformation, specifically to distract from his failings. And we're going to talk about that as well. So first of all, let's start with Jeffrey Goldberg's piece in The Atlantic. And in that piece, Jeffrey Goldberg says, Trump does not defend our democracy from the ruinous consequences of conspiracy thinking. Instead, he embraces such thinking. A conspiracy theory, birtherism, was his pathway to power. And in office, he warns of the threat of the deep state with the ferocity of a QAnon disciple. He has even begun to question the official coronavirus death toll, which he sees as evidence of a dark plot against him. How is he different from Alex Jones, from the conspiracy manufacturers of Russia and the Middle East? He lives in the White House. That is one main difference. This improbable question, how did a person with a weakness for conspiratorial thinking achieve the presidency, might be among the most consequential of the coming election, which is not merely a political contest, but a referendum on Enlightenment values and on reality itself. Nonsense is nonsense, except when it kills. And conspiracy thinking, especially when advanced by the President of the United States, is an existential threat. And so when you think of all the ways in which Trump supports this new conspiracism, there are many. So yeah, as Goldberg points out, the big foray into politics for Trump was birtherism against Barack Obama. This idea that Barack Obama may not have been born in the United States, may not be, may not qualify for the presidency because of the birthplace of his parents. But his entire trade politics were also based around these sort of go too far ideas about China. And it went simply from being about currency and intellectual property theft into climate change is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese. We see it front and center on the virus, everything from Trump pushing chloroquine is the cure. What do you have to lose from very, very early on to it will just go away, to the entire thing that we've seen recently from Donald Trump about just ignoring the fact that there are people dying every single day from this. And of course, with conspiracies, when there's a grain of truth, as there almost always is, it helps the conspiracy to grab a foothold. We've talked about this before. The virus did originate in China. It just didn't come from a lab. It wasn't man-made in a bioweapon. Trump says it will go away. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, at some point, it will either kill everybody who's not immune, and then you've got herd immunity, and everyone who died has already died. Like, eventually, it'll go away. Or we'll get a vaccine, or whatever the case may be. Eventually, it will go away. That doesn't mean that we just open up the economy and do nothing. And then Trump says, well, some governors are being heavy-handed. That becomes armed protests by the same people who think Bill Gates is involved in some nefarious way to fund a vaccine that will lead to a dystopian population control nightmare that Bill Gates will be in charge of. And again, just enough people fall for this stuff that it takes attention away from what matters and from what's real, keeping people safe, understanding when Trump is lying to us, minimizing damage to the economy in a responsible way, working together to get past the lockdown phase. And of course, just enough people fall for this stuff that it starts to get media attention, and that's how they win. They don't need to be proven right. They merely need to justify their existence by getting just enough attention. And where we are seeing it now front and center is with this Obamagate stuff. I don't plan on covering Obamagate very much. I'm going to do a clip or two here or there for the purposes of debunking what's being said. But this is how Trump controls the media. Sean Illing for Vox writes, Trump has been able to essentially win merely by turning the last week of right-wing media and even some centrist and standard corporate media into adjudications and debates about Obamagate. Any minute that is spent talking about Obamagate is a minute that they are distracting their viewers from the mounting death toll, the failed response, the fact that South Korea and Taiwan got it under control right away, and we did not. We still have inadequate testing levels. And it's a tactic that Steve Bannon, I don't know that Steve Bannon invented it. Certainly, he probably did not. But he uses it, and it's called zone flooding. Flood the zone with this stuff and force the media to cover it. You don't need to convince a huge portion of the public. You just need to get coverage and get people arguing on one side of Obamagate or on the other side of Obamagate. And the media have really not adapted to be able to handle this. As Sean Illing says, the media aren't gatekeeping the BS stories. And to some degree, media are allowing more and more discussion of Obamagate because it's ratings. That's number one. To some degree, media want more and more discussion of Obamagate because if they don't talk about it, it'll trigger a round of BS attacks against them. Look at how biased they are. Fox is covering Obamagate. Fake news CNN and the Washington Post won't cover it. So part of it is they don't want to be seen. They're scared of being accused of suppressing the story altogether. And the mere discussion causes what we call the illusory truth effect. Even if most media outlets are bringing it up to debunk it, exposure to the claims alone will get some people believing them. Even if you do what you believe is the responsible thing, you only bring up Obamagate to debunk it as the bogus conspiracy theory that it is. You are exposing more people to the claim, and more people may end up believing the conspiracy theory. So at least for now, I'm not going to participate in the Obamagate stuff. We're going to talk about it only at an absolute minimum. And we will talk about it when there is, a relevant implosion by the right related to it. Our audience also is not a general audience. It's people already following this stuff, but they win when they get enough of the population talking about this stuff, even if they're not changing minds. And the real impact is that large swaths of the country reopening in the middle of a pandemic are doing so partially because of these conspiracy theories about everything from Bill Gates and government tyranny and heavy-handed this and that, Obamagate distraction. All of this stuff is playing a role in getting policy to be what they want rather than what public health dictates. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter @DPakman, and we'll have a few types of follow-up on this coming up later today.